Hello, everybody. This is the Brony Austin's here, and I'm bringing to you a fan fiction reading hold on, In Another Life by Changeling Champion. I'll leave the link in the description. So, thank you so much for tuning in my video. And here we go. In 3, 2, 1, go. It was a dark night, too. It was a dark night, late, too. That didn't help Twilight. It just made her feel more alone. She was reminded that there was no one around her now. She sat there, in the hall of the honored dead in Canterlot, gazing upon the graves of all of her friends, lined up in the front row, in front of her. Loneliness kept her there for hours. Eventually, she heard hoofsteps behind her, and Princess Celestia sat down beside her. "I know it's tough," she said. The younger Alicorn was crying silently and only gave out a little sniffle before stuttering. It never occurred to me that being immortal would mean watching them all die before me. I will not lie, Twilight. I will not lie when I say I know what you are feeling, Twilight. No, you don't, she sobbed. Who have you lost? You've been around since the beginning of Equestria. And I don't see any pony becoming friends with you for you to miss. Listen to yourself, Twilight. You know I'm missing too. Oh, like I should believe that? You didn't know them like I did. I spent time with them every day, and we saw you on rare occasions with little contact anyway. You can't possibly feel my pain right now. Twilight was growing angry, her eyes watering while glaring at the elder mare, who sat there with her head down and sighed. Twilight directed her attention to the graves again. There was silence for a few seconds. His name was Arcana. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Twilight glanced back over. Huh? He was the only colt I ever loved. The tear rolled down Celestia's cheek, and her voice began quavering. He was always there for me. We first met on a playground back at magic school. And Equestria was still young and vibrant. On a night like tonight, I can't see that image as clearly anymore. I was still a filly, a few thousand years before the Nightmare Moon incident. It was before I was an alicorn, and before I ever attempted to move the sun, when all the ponies could play outside, as long as they wished, ever since the day never ended. My favorite foal to play with was my beloved Arcana, a tough, red-coated foal with a dark blue mane. She began to come down. We played tag, hopscotch, and sometimes just ran around the open fields. As we grew up, our relationship became more meaningful. We made arrangements, and we began showing off our magic skills to test who was better. He was ahead of me most of the time, until I got my cutie mark. "When you moved the sun for the first time, right?" Twilight asked excitedly. I'd been knowing the simple question. "Yes, that's right," Celestia said with a smile. "But I got more than my cutie mark that day, too, you see. When I moved the sun, I bonded myself with it. And when the sun's powers merged with me, I grew wings. And the magic was greater than any pony's else's in Equestria. Arcana was so jealous of my ability to move the sun, and frankly so was Luna. They wanted to try it for themselves, but the sun had accepted me as its guide, and I would be the one to control where it goes. But we were still friends. Then one day I decided to lower the sun behind the horizon to see what would happen. The sky went dark, and I saw many beautiful sparks in the sky. But what caught my eye was the large white orb that emerged from where the sun had descended. The moon. Everyone in Equestria was in panic, so I quickly brought the sun back into the sky. Later that day, I showed Luna after I informed everyone of what I did. You moved the sun for the first time, right? No, wait, whoops. Sorry. She was amazed, stupefied. And then I told her that she would be the one to control it. Celestia looked happily to the moon, and she was the happiest filly I have ever seen to this very day. Twilight had seen how she digressed. What exactly does this have to do with Arcana? Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, as always. The elder's expression turned gloomy again. You know more than you think, Twilight. When I became an alicorn, I became immortal. And my body grew to this powerful size and stopped. But even before I looked like this, I experienced the saddest time in my life. He met me one day in the Canterlot main hall, where I now lived. I still looked young, but as for my lover, Celestia did not speak for a moment. Well, her student asked, how did he look? The princess was crying her eyes out now. She breathed heavily. It wasn't good. His time was near. I still remember his thin, weak body. A disease that had clearly left him on his knees. He looked at me and said, Celestia, my sweet Celestia, you look as beautiful as ever. I could stare at you for all eternity. I think we both knew that wasn't true, though. I tried to comfort him, saying that I could cure him, but actually, it was I who needed comfort. The stallion was so calm, so accepting of his fate. And he continued, No. No need for that. Nature will cure me in a few minutes. I thought I would come and visit you while I wait. I tried my reasoning. No, please, I can help you. But he went on, It's okay, honey. No need to work so hard for me. Listen, I just want you to know that I love you, dear. Never forget that. I know you did. I know you do. I've known you since we were little. I can't see you go. Right now, Celestia could not hold back any tears now. Celestia could not hold back any tears now. Don't be like that, sweetie. Remember how you always knew more. Remember how I always knew more about spells, how I knew so much more about my life. Arcana smiled to her. Take it from me. Nothing good in life lasts forever. When you lose that good thing, you have to move on. You can't just cry over the past. Look back and see what you were lucky enough to experience, and do something else with your life. You only have one. These words stayed with me for 1,000 years, Celestia sobbed silently. I know what you mean, Celestia, Twilight said. What he meant. But I can't bring myself out of this. What do I have to look back at? Everything I have done in my life was with them, and they're all dead now. Nonsense, she assured her. There are plenty of good things that you grew up with. You grew up here, the richest city in Equestria, studying endlessly, living in your own little world. Does that not mean anything to you anymore? Twilight sniffled and rubbed the tears from her eyes. I guess you're right. I was lucky enough to be your student, too. Maybe I should go back and explore the castle. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were still as if she had something else in mind. Celestia smiled down on her. Good. You go do that. If you need me, I will be in the throne room. And she left without another word. Twilight sat for a few more minutes. Then eventually got on her hooves and walked to the castle. She made her way to the tallest tower, and on her way picked up a rope, a sheet of paper, and a quill with some ink. When she had everything, she climbed to the top and stood in a room with a balcony and a dresser and a mirror resting atop it. The Alicorn took the paper to the dresser and wrote down her message. Dear Princess Celestia, you were right. You were right. I do not need to look back at my life in a positive way. I do need to look back at my life in a positive way. However, all of the best times in my life were with my friends, coming to Ponyville, defeating so many foes like Nightmare Moon, and Discord, the Changelings, and even T-Rex. For every challenge I faced, every pony was there at my side. When I had to save the Tree of Harmony, they were there. When King Somber tried to ruin the Crystal Empire, they were there. When Sunset Shimmer stole my element of harmony, even in another dimension, all of my friends were there. I knew they would be with me until the end of time, until the end of the line. But, their lives have ended, but mine goes on. It's not their fault. I mean, it was their time. But I'm sure there's nothing that they would want more than to be with me right now. I wish I could still be here with them, but I can't. Just not here. I need to go somewhere else to see them. Princess Celestia, I want you to know that I am forever grateful for everything you've done to me. And now you made me your very own student, and you taught me so many things I could have only dreamed of. I'm sorry I have to let it all go. But what's life without a little sacrifice, right? Goodbye, Celestia. I will miss you. Sincerely, your faithful student, Twilight Sparkle. She put the quill down and began to cry, silently. When she was done, she lifted the rope with her magic and tied it around her wings, making sure she couldn't fly. And then she faced the mirror on the dresser. She took a deep breath, and her horn began emitting dark magic. She shot it at the mirror, and it reflected back at her horn, coating it in dark crystals, much like the ones King Sombra used on shining armor. Violet wasn't able to use her magic anymore. She approached the balcony and looked over the golden railing. She put her hoof atop it and closed her eyes. With a cringe, Twilight used all of her force to propel herself over the railing. As she fell, she thought about her life once more. Hold on. It's my time, Sugar Cube. I've lived a real good life, and it was even better knowing that I met you. Honest. Violet felt the wind forcing on her face. Oh, darling, I will miss you. I'm afraid I'm not feeling inspired today, but I hope I can inspire you to take pride in your life. Never let go. She was getting closer. For once, Twilight, I'm not afraid. I lived in the shadows as a filly, and a little into adulthood, but now I know what's coming, and I can't change that. Goodbye, my friend. Halfway there. It's okay, Twi. You can only fly for so long, even if you're me. My life went by almost as fast as I did to you, and I'm glad you came today. I knew you were loyal, kid. Twilight was speeding to the ground like a bullet. Sorry, Twilight. I didn't have time for one last party, but you get to go on and laugh through your life and have so much fun. The world is your party, Twilight. Put everything you've got into it. It won't last forever. I suppose it'll last a few seconds. Twilight, I knew I never amounted to much in life. But ever since Canterlot, I saw you grow into a fantastic pony. Everything you set out for became reality. And because you worked so hard to make it that way. I know it doesn't sound like much coming from one of your closest friends, but this dragon There's you longer than any pony else. You're gonna go far in life, Twilight. I guarantee it. He was just a couple feet from the ground now. The last fraction of a second of her life. She felt nothing but regret. The end. That was a story called In Another Life by Changing Champion. I will leave a link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching my video. I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye bye!